Well, it's 7:30 in the morning here on Saturday, November 15th, 2025. We're halfway through November already. We're already thinking, we already have our plans for Thanksgiving. I'm sorry about the wind. And we have our plans for December and even January figured out. So this is the winter season, at least on the calendar it is. I think December 22nd or something like that marks the official beginning of winter. But for many people across the U.S., they're getting some snow, weather below freezing, blah, blah, blah. But today it's supposed to be 83 degrees. We're getting some wind from the south. I think that's what's causing the warmth. I'll give a little bit of an update. So I was able to pin up the sheep about a week ago, I think. And I castrated all the rams but one. I think he was pretty young. I couldn't quite make it work mechanically. If I had somebody else, I might have been able to do it, but I'm pretty sure I got the other ones. I'm banding them. The reason why I band them is it's something I can do, and I haven't really noticed any negative side effects from it. Even the lambs, they don't seem that uncomfortable after being banded, if it's done properly, right? So one of the little lambs, poor little guy, I didn't quite do it right. I had to cut it open and do it again. Cut the rubber band, not the skin. So they're banded. My current plan is to get these sheep bred in the middle of January. I think there's a particular day I have set up. What I wanted to do was get lambs in June, okay? And I saw a recent video by Shepherdess. I was kind of a little bit upset with the video. The way it was marketed, or the title was, hey, this is how you can keep your sheep alive. And what she was doing was just explaining how she uses spreadsheets to keep track of her sheep. One of the things I haven't figured out yet is how do I get close enough to these sheep that I can actually get a good look at them, even see the number on their ear. So let me just kind of show you what happens when I try to get close to them. So yeah, and if I pull out my shepherd's crook, they know how far that shepherd's crook can reach. And so one of the issues that I'm having, and I'm sure a lot of people have the same issue, and it's not a solved issue for me by any stretch of the imagination. So if I want to get hands on the sheep, what I have to do is I have to pin them up, right? And that's a certain amount of stress on the sheep, you know. And then once they're pinned up, I get them in a small little area, and then I grab them with a shepherd's hook, right? Which isn't that stressful, but then you have to kind of wrestle them. And I don't know any sheep that likes to be held, likes to be checked, you know. And so at the end of the day, I don't feel comfortable putting the sheep under stress, trying to check for some markers to determine whether or not, a year from now I should sell them or not. And she said that she culls the bottom 10 or 20%. And those numbers that's not what I wanted to hear Shepherdess say. I wanted her to say that she had the solution to being a shepherd, and that she could, cull only like 1% of her sheep and have a great flock. But she's culling 10 or 20% a year. So to kind of give you guys an understanding of what that means, if I was a top sheep producer, like I was doing everything right and my sheep were super healthy, it's good season, blah, 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 I could probably expect about 1.8 lambs per ewe, right? And I thought, hey, I could probably breed them 3 times in 2 years, right? Every 8 months. And that didn't quite turn out true for me. So now I'm looking at once a year at best. The nice thing about the 8-month schedule is your little ewe lambs, they are ready to breed the second cycle after they're born. and they're just physically incapable of breeding for that first cycle. So you don't really have to separate out the young ewes from the older ewes. With the yearly breeding schedule, if you were to do that the same way, you would be getting lambs when the ewes are 1 year old, which I think is a little bit young. I'm not going to try that. So I'm going to take the new ewes off and then put the rams on and keep the ewes separate until the rams are off. That's my goal. I don't know how successful I'll be at that, but that's what I'm going to try to do. And then the other thing too is that first year of breeding back, you can't really expect twins, and you probably don't want twins that first year that the ewes breed back. So all of that math comes back and says you really don't have that many sheep. Like with the 8-month breeding schedule, a 1.8 number, you get like 2.25, I think is the number, which is pretty good. So you get basically 2 1/4 lambs for every ewe you have. But then you add in culling onto that number, and that number drops pretty quick, you know. And then on a 1 year breeding cycle, that number drops even quicker. So anyway, so my dreams of being a multimillionaire in a matter of months are over. And that's somewhat sarcastic. Right now, my goal is just to develop the strongest sheep that I can. And the only way I really know how to do that is to keep them on the pasture full time. I'm not supplementing except for protein in the winter when the grass is pretty much dead. There's nothing in there. Here's the remnants of that protein block. This one seems to work pretty well. It's from Atwood's. It's an 18% sheep block. And it's about $15. I don't know, 30 pounds? I don't know how big it is. But I'm going about two of those guys in a week, right? So I bought a bunch. I might just buy out their entire supply, tell them to get some more, and I'll buy it again. But I plan on feeding them that for about 3 or 4 months out of the year. So that's not that expensive, you know, at least not for this quantity of sheep. And then the goal is to get the sheep strong and adapted to the grass, so hopefully I won't have to supplement as much. Some of my sheep are doing great. They're just fantastic, you know, beautiful, filled bellies, lots of fat, you know, just beautiful sheep. And then there's a bunch that are doing pretty well, you know, and then the ones that weren't doing so well, they're not with us anymore. So they probably, you know, if they didn't kick the bucket a couple months ago, they'd be kicking the bucket right now, you know. But for my farm this year, I unintentionally culled about 40% of the animals. This is super depressing for me, and it's a shame to admit, but that's just in 2025. About 40% was my cull rate. And I really, the sad thing is, it's not like, hey, you know, I made a mistake. I should have done this, but I did that. I should have zigged instead of zagged. But the honest truth is, I don't know what I did wrong, you know. So, but I'm going to keep going like this, see how far I can push it. And, you know, at some point, if things don't get better, like if next year I'm culling 40% of the herd again unintentionally, I really don't see, like, the numbers are going to keep getting smaller and smaller. And certain numbers need to go up, you know, in a business. And if the numbers aren't going up, then you're kind of like, well, what am I doing here? I'm just wasting my time and my effort, you know. I know the cattle business will do well in this system, but the sheep not so much. Now, there is another variable I can try to introduce. I could try to get fescue growing on my pasture, and I seriously consider doing that for this autumn. I probably still have time to do it if I wanted to, but I considered all the numbers and all the facts, and I decided, no, let's let it ride one more year. If I have another bad year, then I'm definitely going to say, okay, let's do something about this grass. Let's put some fescue in here, and let's make some serious investments. Maybe put a bunch of chicken litter out here too. You know, I'm not going to be able to grow chickens on the land, so just buy the chicken litter, spread it. It's a good, cheap solution. And there's a couple other things I can do too to try to bolster what's in the ground. And there's some other options I have too to try to find a good solution for what I got. So anyway, I'm not completely out of options, but you know, things aren't great. So Anyway, one commentator a long time ago, he says he really likes how I show what's really going on, and this is one of those videos where, 10 to 20% cull rate from the shepherdess sounds extreme, but I would have loved to have those numbers this year. I didn't. So this was the year I thought I would have 100 lambs running around. No, I just have like 15. So something went horribly wrong. I messed up. Anyway, that's what I got for you guys. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.